Welcome into Jets Nation Radio. I'm Angus Hout, joined by Ray Howe and Sam Brownell. How's it going there, guys?
Oh, not
Going
so
great.
bad. I'd be better if the Jets could beat bad hockey teams, but we'll get into that.
Yeah. Well, at least the both the Leafs and the Stars have lost to the Blue Jackets in the last, well, now 9 days. But it could be worse. Those teams could have beat the Jackets, and we could be the only fools who couldn't get a W there.
That's true. And the Stars got beat worse than the Jets did, which is always fun.
Yeah. So you gotta find the little bits of bright side. It'd be nice if, the Jets could figure out their stuff against these bottom feeders.
It's kind of always been the Jets' way, unfortunately, is just mediocre play against bad teams, kind of just playing down to the opponents.
Yeah.
It doesn't help having Hellebuck also under the weather, but
That's true. Yeah, I mean, if Hellebuck is in there, there's a good chance. Like that last goal, I didn't think Riddick played bad, but that last goal was terrible. He should not have let that one in.
But I mean, there's almost, what is it? Like almost every game, a goalie has that one goal where you're like, oh, damn it.
Unless
that
you're
kind of sucks.
Korpisalo.
Unless you're Korpisalo. Like, but that's the thing is the Jets keep showing up to these games and these goaltenders are like, oh, cool. It's the Winnipeg Jets. I'm going to give them a 950 save percentage and good luck getting anything past me. Like if you go back to the last 3 weeks of play for the Jets, goaltending has been such a problematic thing. They just can't find goals right now.
yeah, I feel like the Jets are in a position where they're either getting goalied or they're the one goalieing a team. Like there isn't the amount of times where the Winnipeg Jets have a game where they have offense in kind of bunches is kind of becoming less and less as we get deeper into the season.
I also feel like, I mean, you just can't be 1 for 7 on the power play, and you cannot be 0 for 3 on 5-on-3s. Like that's atrocious.
And it's not even like they were short 5-on-3s. Like it was like 90 seconds on each of them. It felt like it, or at least 30 seconds bare minimum.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, they did score their one goal as the guy was like stepping out of the box, but you have 30 seconds. You got to score before that, so you stay on the power play. Like it's just, yeah, absolutely atrocious.
Yeah. Oh, just brutal. And like if you go back to, I was writing about it last night for JetsNation.ca. It was the first game against Philadelphia, so December 11th, I believe, January 11th, sorry. And they're 3 for 28 in that time. Like it just fallen right off the horse.
That's so bad. And
yeah.
I mean, get Nikolai Ehlers on the top unit. It's all I have to say about that.
How has it been this long that Nikolai Ehlers has not been on the top unit? Like it's been the Maurice era,
career.
His entire career. Yeah. You got 3 different coaches and all 3 of them like, nah, Nick Ehlers doesn't need to be on the top unit.
The only guy who can actually enter the zone on the Jets with speed and keep the puck under control. Let's not have him on the power play.
Let's have the person that can have control entries, not on the power play, so we can't get into the zone.
I also want to. Yeah, it's brutal. And then you even look at the 4-on-4 in that game against Columbus. You got Saku Manalainen and Kevin Stenlund. Like, why are we playing our defenders on our 4-on-4? Go in and go get that goal. Go put Scheifele and Wheeler out there. Like, not very often Bonus has a bad moment in his brain, like for his lines, but man, that was just brutal.
And I feel like even in the game that went to overtime the other night, Ehlers barely made it on the ice in overtime. And that's when he's going to thrive, when there's only 3 guys on the ice. He's so fast. Get him out there.
Yeah, I feel like Bonus is really kind of changing up what he has. And I don't think having to change things always results in like a better outcome, because I feel like he's trying Ehlers with different pairings. And I feel like if you there's just no point on trying to put Ehlers with different people when you know something works, and if you put him on the top unit, you're going to find success. So
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's almost like they're scared of that success.
Yeah. They don't want to tip our hand. He wants to keep it close, and then come playoffs, Ehlers is going to be playing 25 a night, and he's going to be trash.
That's exactly what it is. Games 81, 82, and then playoffs. That's the only time we're going to see Nick Ehlers on the top power play. Sam, you're a wonderful journalist here. You figured it out. You cracked the code.
It's all about the strategy, right?
Yeah. Nailed it. And Rick Bowness kind of throwing the whole team through the line blender. This is this projected lineup for the Jets tonight. We got Manalainen on the top line with Dubois and Connor, Mason Appleton with Scheifele and Perfetti on the second line, Lowry, Blake Wheeler, and Nick Ehlers, Morgan Barron, Stenlund, and Kuhlman.
Manalainen's terrible right now. He has not been playing well, and putting him on the top line is shocking.
But is that because there's been such a lack of goals? Like, Bonus has already done this once this season where he's just like, all right, one game of show me what you got. You bought like the bottom six. What can you do for me here?
I feel like the way this is kind of structured is that kind of saying, okay, here are the bottom six guys. We're going to give you an opportunity to kind of elevate your game to like a level of like playing with Dubois and Connor. Like, not everyone's going to have the opportunity to play with those guys. So kind of being like, okay, who can fit with Connor and Dubois in like playoff situations, but also kind of giving a chance to other players. But like, you never know what Manalainen might be able to do in the top six. So giving him like a 1-game shot, kind of see what he has. But ultimately, I don't think that it's going to be a successful move.
I also saw someone calling this kind of like using Manalainen and Appleton there as placeholders for potential trade candidates. Like putting a guy like Meier, whoever you end up getting that's going to play in the top six on the wing with either Connor and Dubois or Perfetti and Scheifele. Or I just putting Ehlers down to the third line, and who knows how the minutes are going to end up shaking out. It might end up just being pretty even across the board, but you got to get him on the ice more. He's just so dynamic, and the Jets just need that in their game right now. It's gotten kind of stale.
Yeah, I think Bonus is trying to go for a system where he can kind of go to any of his top three lines and have basically like a three-headed monster of like a line where you have two like kind of key guys like Connor and Dubois, and then you have Manalainen there, like who might not be like the greatest player, but like if you forget about him, like Connor and Dubois are so skillful that they can find him in open ice and some magical things can happen. So I think he's just trying to find a way to kind of spread out the offense or to find offense from places that he might not be already aware of.
Well, it's almost like he's just using each of those guys on the top lines as like somebody just to hit almost for the other team. So it's like you have the puck on your stick for a couple of seconds or a moment, and you can't get that or like you're trying to make that pass, and ultimately you can take that puck away as Saku Manalainen or Mason Appleton. There's also like, well, look at what we can do in the playoffs if we can't get scoring. We are willing to put Mason Appleton and Saku Manalainen on those top lines to bang and crash and get things done. So it's just an extra weapon for Bonus. It's not a great weapon, but it's one that I think whipping the boys into shape, because after the last time we did this, everyone played well and we got a good stretch of hockey out of everyone, so this could work again.
Yeah,
his new look power.
We saw this with Axel Jonsson Fjallby and Sam Gagne in the top six, and it was kind of like where you'd see Sam Gagne there and like the passes wouldn't connect, and it would just be like, why is Sam Gagne playing out there with these guys? And it's like sometimes you can something just clicks and it's just they're like a fit, but like you never know what you have there until you try it. So but I feel like it's going to be kind of similar results where like it may work for like a game or it doesn't work, and then you don't really go back to it at the end of the day.
Yeah, I also feel like the new look power plays, if it is what Ken Weeb was saying was at practice yesterday, are interesting. I like the one he called the top power play. I know it has Morrissey on it. That can't be the top power play. Like you can't have, what was it? It was Schmidt, Morrissey,
Wheeler,
Scheifele, Wheeler, Perfetti.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't not have Dubois and Connor on the top power play. I think the other one was Ehlers, Pionk, Connor, Dubois, Stenlund. Like, I think I know Pionk's a shit show, but I think that's got to be that top unit. But we'll see what the usage is tonight.
Pionk hasn't been terrible during the power play. He's had, I think, only 2 or 3 breaks overall during his power play time. And when they are breaks, they're real bad breaks. So I'll counter with that. But Pionk has been really interesting because the moments that he's great, he's awesome. But like once you magnify those bad spots in his game, they're pretty rough. I just he needs to get out of here. Not to be rude, but like he's a really good player. He's just not fitting into our system. Which is really unfortunate. I think that there's still a lot with him.
I feel like that was kind of the same situation he was in New York, though. Like, he didn't look great in New York. Their fans were happy to get rid of him. And now after one good season that he had, we're like, oh, he's a good player, but we want to get rid of him too. So maybe he's just not as good as, like, he does have those flashes, but ultimately I just don't, like, he's obviously an NHL defenseman, and I always used to make that same point with a guy like Kulikov. He was just getting paid too much and used too much with the Jets. He's a fine, like, third pairing defenseman, but he's just not in the right situation.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And the fact that he's making what, 6 schmil, give or take.
Not quite, I don't think.
Or is he the 5'9"?
Yeah, I think it's like 5'8".
5'8". Yeah, he's 5'8", Nate Schmidt's 5'9". Yeah. And both of those guys are just heavily overpaid. I'd be happy to give that money straight over to Dylan DeMello.
Timo Meier.
And Timo, oh man.
He's getting 5.875, so just under.
Just under. Okay. And Sam, last night we were talking a little bit. You'd be willing to trade Cole Perfetti for Timo Meier, or like make him a part of the package?
So if Meier were to sign long term, yeah. I don't want to lose Perfetti. Don't get me wrong. I really like Perfetti's game, but the Jets need to win now. And Meier's going to do that way, way better, or going to help towards that way better than Perfetti is. I think you got to push the chips into the middle of the table. And if it takes Cole Perfetti, that might be the deal. The way Brad Lambert's playing in the dub right now, I don't think he's going to be a Jet by the deadline. Like, I think teams are going to want him included in that, but him driving up his stock might mean that a guy like Perfetti stays. I don't know. I think like a Harkins might be gone. Because it sounds like, and this is hypothetically for a Meier, they want first round pick, player that can play now, and a top prospect. So if, like, I don't think you're giving them both Lambert and Perfetti and that first round pick, but one or the other. And like, if it ends up being they want Perfetti, the prospect might be like I don't know, a Nikkanen or something like that. Just like not quite the top tier, not the Lambert, Lucius, or McGroarty, but maybe just like the level below that.
Yeah, because when you're getting that top prospect in Perfetti, like he's already also that young kind of roster player that they're getting to. So it kind of like checks off both boxes of that part of the deal. So the prospect wouldn't need to be as kind of high. So yeah, I could see it probably being like a first Perfetti and kind of like a lower tier prospect than like the main ones. But like again, giving a Perfetti, it's like you got to be confident that you can keep Meier, because if you go in and you trade away all these assets, like sure you can recoup some of it as an RFA and trading his rights, but at the end of the day, if you're giving up Cole Perfetti and you don't have the success long term, it's going to look like a massive L on that front.
Yeah, I think like well, at least I hope if Perfetti is on the table there, that they're not including one of those top 3 guys with him plus a first round pick. That's way too much. That's 3 firsts essentially. I'd much rather it be like even a Lambert, Harkins or something, or Appleton or something like that, a guy who can play now, and a first, than those 3 top pieces.
Yeah.
I would hate to lose Perfetti. And like, even if you get Meier long term, you've had so much success with Perfetti early on, like you don't know what he's going to turn into. If you could somehow throw enough smoke and mirrors at the situation and you could get rid of Neil Pionk and just be like, hey, this guy could play with your fancy Erik Karlsson, this would be a
Carlson's
good
going to be
match.
gone too, though.
No, there's not a chance Karlsson moves. No one's going to.
He's 100% moving.
The money's just not going to happen. Who's going to?
That's fair. That's a terrible contract.
Awful. And even if you manage to get somebody to eat up a bunch of that money, it's a 4-year.
There's too much term.
Commitment. Yeah. Karlsson's not moving. The Oilers Nation is so horny to get that guy, but it's so dumb. Like they don't have any money for him. No one else in the league wants him, so it's just like, don't bother.
Yeah.
So yeah, Neil Pionk and Erik Karlsson, dynamic duo in San Jose for the next.
Not a lot of defense being played there.
Yeah.
Just mayhem. So, also, I do need to mention our sponsors. That was a fun little debate here, guys. Playmaker, our sponsors here, because we gotta talk about them. Be sure to check out Betway to check out the latest Jets game day odds and bet on the NHL. So check out Betway out in Ontario. Ray, you can bet.
Yeah.
Did you win any money on the Super Bowl last week?
No, I did not.
I mean the big game, because I'm not allowed to say that word now.
You're not allowed to use those two words beside each other.
Piss off, NFL.
Yeah, that's who you want to take on.
Yeah, I'll do it. I've got $30 to my name. I'll take on $1 billion company.
Might have to do some editing, bleep out some of those words right there.
Yeah, I might have to. Damn it. I actually have to do my job. Although I said it last week and I didn't get in trouble, so. Either way, do you guys have any success with betting on the big game?
No.
Okay, good. So yeah, I kind of forgot about that. What do you guys think of Rihanna? If you guys did you guys watch the game?
I did. I thought Rihanna was better than a lot of people. I saw a lot of people complaining. I didn't think it was that bad. Like it was a little weird with some of those dancers and stuff, but I thought her performance was fantastic.
Yeah. I didn't get to watch, so I kind of just watched the recap with the performance included. So it looks pretty good though.
Yeah.
I mean, they put on a hell of a show at that big game. That's for sure.
Oh, they did. Huge. Also, I want to talk about American football stadiums, because the Stadium Series game yesterday between Carolina and Washington. And did you guys know about it before yesterday?
Vaguely. I did because Seth Jarvis is from Winnipeg, right? And I went to school with his older brother, so I saw his older brother posting about it, and that's literally the only way I knew.
Wow. Yeah, I don't think they did enough marketing or promotion of it to have people kind of know that it was happening. It's just kind of oh, there's a Stadium Series, oh, cool.
Okay, so what I've been thinking that they should do is they should do this legit series over a weekend. So you have 6 games, go 2, 6, 2, and 6 over this long weekend that's happening right now. And so, or you go Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 2 games a day, and you go to Lambeau Field and do a series there for an entire weekend up that way. Or I don't know, you find some of those northern states and just see if you got.
I think if you're going big, you go to Michigan, you go to the Big House.
You go to Big House?
I mean, it's 110,000 in there.
But could you imagine?
Not that the NHL would fill that, but.
Well, they did the Detroit game, Detroit and Toronto in 2013. They sold that out.
I actually really I saw one commenter from the States, Pete Blackburn, talking about it. And he was talking about that Lake Louise game.
So the issue
with the pandemic.
Yeah. The issue with that is that's Parks Canada, and
no ticket sales. And even just getting the equipment out there, I don't think Parks Canada is too excited about that. As beautiful as that would be. I'm not necessarily saying just that location though. I feel like there's so many options.
Oh, there's tons, but make
it more scenic, because I mean, ultimately, if you're at that game, you cannot see anything.
No.
It was funny. They posted a picture of everyone in one of the first sections standing up, and they're like, they were doing this the whole game. Yeah, because it's the only way they could see the ice.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Like,
it's too
it's so
small.
far away. You can't see the puck. I think somewhere in Europe they did it with clear boards, which I love.
Yeah.
But then the NHL couldn't put their terrible apps on it. So
yeah, just take the L for one day there, guys. Like if you're gonna host that,
it's all about money, and that's why they do like 9 of these outdoor games a year, just to get the extra ticket sales. Because the NHL buys that game back from the home team, so and they sell the tickets. That's what they did when the Jets and was it Flames played in in Regina, rather. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the NHL bought the game from the Jets, and then they sell the tickets, so they get that money.
Oh.
So and I know money pays for it and everything's everyone's salary and all that stuff, but
just like
the product is just lacking.
Yeah. Yeah. Make it as enjoyable for everyone. Like just take the little bit of an L, like, charge an extra $5 per ticket. You'll make up your money real quick.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They got to find something to do with it and like really push this thing because it should be a way more fun game. I wrote about this like a year and a half ago over at JetsNation.ca where they could play in Manitoba, and I was thinking Blue East Lake up in Duck Mountain. If you could figure out a way to do that, would be a gorgeous location.
Yeah, it's tough. You also have to consider like the weather in Manitoba.
Oh yeah, but I mean
like any game you're doing in Manitoba, it has to be in the fall, really. Like the one that was in Winnipeg, I think was in October.
Yes.
And it was still freezing cold. So there is, but then there's also the side, like they were worried about rain in Raleigh this weekend. And it's like an NHL game of that magnitude might have to get postponed because of rain. Like the one in Winnipeg got delayed because of the sun. So then everyone's just sitting out there in the freezing cold. Have it at night. Like have it in the evening.
That was kind of a rookie move on their part for that. But didn't IG Field run out of beer that day too?
Probably.
I believe I've heard rumors that IG ran out of beer because of that delay.
That'd be great.
I think that'd be an awful event to be at if the beer ran out. Holy, watch!
Well, you're there for several hours in the cold before the game too. Like, it was fun when it was the Winter Classic on New Year's Day, which it wasn't even on New Year's Day this year, and then the Heritage between two Canadian teams. And now they have like both of those. They have like 4 Stadium Series games that they don't promote properly. It's become a bit of a farce.
Yeah. Well, and even for like the Europe game, I was talking to Nation Dan a couple weeks ago on this podcast, and we were talking about the lack of merchandise that they take overseas to Europe for these guys, especially their Europe guys. It's like the NHL could literally listen to 15-year-olds talk for an hour and figure out how to market this rather than the moron executives that are making way too much money.
Yeah, the NHL has their PR team or whatever. They're always so bad, which is funny because so many teams have great PR teams, but the NHL as a whole seems to just shoot themselves in the foot. Like, oh, we're going to have, I think yesterday they had 2 games start at 1 and then no other games until 4, 1 at 1, 1 at 1:30. Then people can watch both on TV. Make it easier to watch the game on TV instead of making everyone have to illegally stream it to be the only way you can get the game. Like every game is blacked out. I don't know how it is for you, Ray, in Ontario, because like I can't watch Leafs or Sens games in Manitoba. Can you even get Jets games?
Yeah, I can get some of them, but like it's still kind of hit or miss sometimes. Like sometimes I'll go on and like I'm expecting it to work and then it doesn't, and then sometimes it's just like you just kind of get frustrated that it's just like you can't watch the game when you want to.
Absolutely. And I mean, like, it would be one thing if there were games on it. Like, I get them wanting people in Manitoba to watch the Jets games. But if I was a fan of like the Leafs and didn't care about the Jets, I'm not going to watch the Jets game either way. But now I also can't watch the Leafs game. So now you just have someone that's going to have to illegally stream it or pay for, I think it's Sportsnet now, but do they even have all the games?
No.
Like it used to be the NHL had their own app or whatever, like Game Day or whatever it was. But I think it's just horrible. Make it easy for people to watch. That's what basketball does. And basketball is way bigger than hockey.
Yeah, look at them crushing it. Like that's the thing, is you can keep comparing the NBA to the NHL, and the NBA knows how to market their stuff well. Even the XFL is doing a slightly better job than the NHL at this point.
And I mean, like, you look back to the 90s, there was a time where people were like, oh, wow, the NHL is blowing the NBA out of the water in terms of popularity and growth and everything like that. And I think the NHL just read their press clippings while the NBA actually like adapted and changed for the times.
Yeah. And now they're crushing numbers. And I get it. Like, it's hard to get everyone excited for ice hockey, especially in southern climates where it's like, okay, cool. But you got to figure something out, because this is going to be a sinking ship real soon, and it's not going to go down easy. And
well, I'm even not even talking about like southern climates. In Canada, make it so we can watch other Canadian teams. Like, there are people who are just hockey fans. I love hockey. Even when the Jets aren't playing, I want to just throw on a game that's going on somewhere else, but I can't because there's a regional blackout.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be losing thousands and thousands of viewers every single game because it's blacked out. People that would just throw it on to have on hockey.
And it doesn't help that Bally Sports is they didn't pay one of their loans of like $100 and some odd million. And, you know, that's, I believe it's 10 or 12 teams. It's a good chunk of the league. All of a sudden, Sinclair, who owns Bally Sports, might not have access to a third of the league. So it's just like, great. So that's all that revenue gone, pissed away, because the NHL can't get out of its own way to properly expand this game to every market. I mean, the one thing that they could do with the Stadium Series is play in states that are northern but don't have hockey all the time. Go to Kansas City to try out these different spots.
Yeah, I mean, just like they did with that one Heritage game in Regina.
Yeah.
Like, it was right between the two teams, Calgary and Winnipeg. So you did have fans, but you also had just hockey fans in Regina going to the games.
You had Saskatchewan hockey fans. You know, the moment something happens, someone's going to drive from God knows where, northern Saskatchewan, and go see something because it's at Mosaic Stadium or whatever the hell it's called now.
I'm surprised they didn't run out of beer.
Honestly. Well, they didn't have a delay on that one, did they?
No, I don't think so.
That was the issue, was the delay of game. You got anything to add, Ray?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, cool. Would you guys extend David Rittich?
For the right price. I mean, you're not going to pay a backup that much money when Hellebuck's going to play 50 plus a year.
Like, if at the end of the season, if you could resign him, like what's the maximum dollar that you're going to sign him for?
I'd say around like 1 million, probably, like just slightly more than kind of like acknowledging like that, like how he's done like pretty good this season and being able to be like called on when needed. But like ultimately you can't be spending like a lot, like you can't be taking up a lot of cap on a goalie that's only going to play like 20 to maybe 25 games. And like if we didn't have Hellebuck, which we do, which is a great case to have, you have a goalie that can play like 60 plus games a year. So you don't really need to invest as much money into the backup.
That's the exact number that I was going to say, a mil. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, Rittich has probably been our worst backup of the Hellebuck era.
You think so?
I mean, Bressois was 100%. Bressois was unreal. Or at least of the last like 4 years. Bressois was unreal. Comrie was unreal last year.
Yeah, and like, David Rittich hasn't been unreal, but like he's been consistent.
Yeah, he's been fine, but there's a lot of fine goalies out there.
There are.
So you don't want to overpay for a guy that's easily replaceable. I do like his personality and what he brings off the ice as well, but I don't know. I don't think there's other holes that could be filled with that extra $500,000 or whatever you want to pay him.
Okay, I was gonna pay 125. 1-1, something like that. Not a crazy overpayment, but yes, there would have been an overpayment. Yeah, I just like the guy. And like you said, he has great personalities that not many guys
I
bring.
feel like there's a lot of goalies
Yeah.
with great personalities, though. They're a weird
yeah.
bunch.
Yeah.
They really are. Well, that's why I love them so much. I also noticed while I was going through their Instagrams this week that Ritter chews. Like he's got like a can of Skull or something hanging out in his pocket. I'm trying to figure out which brand it is now. It's my life mission to figure out what's he chewing.
Him and every other player in the NHL.
Really, the amount of them that I figured out actually chew. And I'd seen something last week from one of the from someone, and it was like there's a still small portion of NHL players that smoke regularly.
That's wild.
I know, right?
That's nuts.
Yeah.
My bet is it's Phil Kessel too.
No, Phil's a specimen. Just give him
No,
Coca-Cola and hot dogs.
No, man, I'm sure that the old darts are what's keeping that guy alive. He's gonna play to 45, hacking out a lung, no problem, drinking his Coke Zeros. Oh man. Ryan O'Reilly goes traded late Friday night. How does this Leafs trade affect us? Because it's not a hockey podcast if we don't talk about the Maple Leafs.
I think the best part of that trade was it should take them out of any Meier conversation.
Right.
So that just pushes the Jets a little bit higher on that potential list. But I mean, good for Dubas. He's like, this is my play. I'm going all in. I know I'm gonna get fired if this doesn't work out. Because if you look, the Leafs have 5 forwards under contract next year. That's it. And it's all their high end guys, but 5. That's a wildly low number. And then there's one that's an RFA, but that's it. They have like 7 UFAs forwards.
Yeah, RIP the Leafs.
Yeah, I think with that Ryan O'Reilly trade, like they do get better, but I think this is also how kind of Cole Perfetti got inserted into the Meier discussion with how much they had to pay for Ryan O'Reilly. Like how much more would they have had to pay for Meier in that case? Because with Ryan O'Reilly having a down year and getting this much, it just accelerates how much more Meier would get, which is why I think Nick Kypreos said about the top prospect probably needing to be Cole Perfetti rather than someone like Rutger McGroarty.
They did also get Noel Acciari though, who's a solid player and like he's gonna be on the roster throughout playoffs. So I just think like that division is wild.
Oh, right. I'm terrified of that division. I know they're the East, but
they're just gonna beat up on each other though.
The East as a whole is terrifying. Like
just today the Rangers went and got Tyler Mott from Ottawa.
No.
Again.
Yeah, again. So the East looks way better than the West. We'll see how the trade deadline shakes down, but this is the time to try and make it out of the West if you're the Jets. Well, I don't think there's a team that the Jets couldn't beat in the West.
Yeah, and like I think even with this current lineup, the Jets could take on just about anyone in the West and take it decently far.
Depends on how other teams improve at the deadline, though.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like as a whole, right now, if it were to start today, I'd have no issue. But like, if the Stars get Timo Meier, we don't do diddly, I might piss my pants a little bit more. But we'll get there when we get there.
I was listening to 32 Thoughts today, and one of the names that they were throwing out there, not for the Jets, but for potentially the Stars, was Tyler Bertuzzi, which is a scary thought.
He's delicate. You just throw him in, you go put a Logan
Stanley. You cough on him and he's going to be out for a couple weeks.
Yeah, like Cole Perfetti could mess that guy up. So whatever, go get Tyler Bertuzzi. I don't care.
Canadian teams don't want to touch him because he's like the only unvaccinated player in the league.
Yeah.
And unless you're a U.S. citizen or on a U.S. visa, you can't get into the States.
Hasn't he been coming up to Canada to play, though?
Yes, because he's on a U.S. visa.
Oh, okay. So there's some dance around there.
Yeah, but if he comes into Canada, he's not anymore.
Yeah.
They are apparently changing the rules down the line, but I don't know how soon that's happening.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I kind of wanted Tyler Bertuzzi until I started looking at things, and it's just not. He's not as sexy as you think he would be for the Jets. So it's Tyler Myers or really nothing at this point.
Tyler Myers.
Or not Tyler. Oh my goodness. Timo
You
Meier.
scared the shit out of me. I was like, I think we have to disband the podcast.
Yeah,
Angus has lost his mind.
You have to move to Winkler because you're absolutely losing it there, friend.
Oh God.
Yeah, no, not Tyler Myers. That's a terrible. No, but Luke Shen, Timo Meier. I like it's Timo Meier or nothing at this point for your top, for your middle,
for your top, for your big splash. I think that's the name it's got to be.
So, but like Toronto had Minnesota eat up money in that deal as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's why I think they ultimately traded what was a first, second, third, and fourth.
Yeah, and then also two kind of like there's like one prospect and one like minor leaguer.
Mm-hmm.
So that they gave up 6 pieces for Minnesota to eat money, which GMs and owners don't love. So that's takes up some of that, and the trade for Ryan O'Reilly makes sense. So yeah, we're probably gonna have to overpay because that's the way it is. And especially with him being the last forward that can really be taken at this point, because Jonathan Toews isn't leaving Chicago allegedly.
Really?
Allegedly.
What about I guess Patrick Kane wouldn't be ideal because he's a left wing, right?
No, and that's the thing is the Jets are at that point where we need a right winger, and you're not going to separate Scheifele and Wheeler. So go find me someone else.
I think Kane plays right wing, but he's also a left shot, so it's also kind of.
Oh, but so is Meier.
Yeah.
Meyer's a left shot that plays the right side. So
is that what he
maybe
is?
that I don't think Kane would waive his no trade to come here.
No, which is unfortunate.
Yeah,
but
I don't. It's
like, but it's unfortunate for the team as a whole. I think if you do run out of that Timo Meier trade option.
Well, it sounds.
Are you going to go talk to Vancouver about the other guy?
Besser.
Oh, Besser.
Or Garland.
Garland, yeah. But do you really want like a 5'10", 178 pound?
I'd be down for a Brock Besser.
Would you?
Be honest.
Even with his year, like he had hand surgery. That's my big concern with him is he hasn't been he hasn't transitioned well out of that hand surgery.
That is a risky play, but the price might be cheaper.
And Connor Garland, I think you're just getting a fancier Mason Appleton. So big whoop. A more expensive, slightly fancier Mason Appleton. And I like Mason Appleton. He's a fine player on this team, but if we want to be a contender, he might need to get booted off. And I'm okay with that. We just can't be slightly increasing what we've got for smaller versions because the playoffs are going to be hard, especially in this conference.
Yeah, it'll be, and I think like JVR is still a big possibility for the Jets is like hopefully a secondary move, but I'm starting to worry a little bit that we're going to be disappointed and just see a few like secondary moves and not get that big splash. But I mean, in the playoffs, you never know who gels, who works, who steps up. So, I mean, I do think some moves need to be made, even if the Jets don't get that big guy.
As long as Luke Shen isn't the only trade we make, I'm fine with it. But if it's just Shen moving, I'm going to be right rattled.
Yeah, the only problem is Toews is actually off the market now. He said he's going to stay because of his illness and stuff like that. So one less option that, yeah.
I never really loved that option though. I was like, I don't know. I thought it was like obviously hockey wise would have helped, but I never thought that was kind of going to be the like big move the Jets needed to make.
Interesting. Because I just thought that would have shored up your centers. You would have had Adam Lowry essentially your fourth line center. The day that happens, that's when the Jets are a Stanley Cup contenders, when Adam Lowry is your fourth line center.
which could still happen. You never know.
It
Might be
should.
someone out there.
I think it should happen.
What do you think are the odds of Cheveldayoff pulling something out of his ass that just no one expects?
I would
Probably a
be
good chance.
putting large amounts of money on that if I were to bet on it. Like it only makes sense that we're gonna hear of this guy and you're like, who that? Like we've heard of this guy, but who is he? So I don't
Like
know.
how is he available? Like something that no one's been talking about as a trade candidate.
Does David Thompson have connections to somebody with a cryo chamber, and maybe we've brought back Max Pacioretty's Achilles tendon? Just grown in
that was a tough joke.
It was.
You started down that path and you had to finish it, but
yeah, it was rough. I'm so sorry, boys. I tried. It's gonna be Max Pacioretty and a new Achilles for like a second round. Oh, I don't know. It's something's gonna take, and it just pieces moving every day. It feels like so. We might even get to the trade deadline and have nothing to talk about except for small moves from the AHL.
Yeah, it could be an interesting last couple of weeks leading up to it.
Yeah, and definitely like the expectations are kind of like an all-time high for like this is kind of our window to kind of make one of these big moves that like we wouldn't normally make. And I feel like if we don't make a move that's kind of impactful, I feel like there's gonna be a lot of disappointment around.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's never been more clear that this team is ready to go. Maybe in 2019, but I don't know. Josh Morrissey's playing a pretty good game. All right.
Oh yeah, there's the statement from Taves.
There it is.
So by Chicago.
Okay, so at least I'm not making stuff.
He's dealing with symptoms of long COVID and chronic immune response syndrome. Ooh. Jeez, hopefully he's okay.
Yeah.
He had some issues. Like, didn't he miss like a full season because
I think he missed that COVID season or the last season, the season before. But yeah, no, he was just ill, and I'm not sure what he has. Somebody told me, and like the public's not supposed to know exactly what he has, but yeah, it's not fun what he deals with. So constantly being sick and long COVID, man, that sounds awful. I don't know how he's still an athlete at this point. Before we tee up the next week, do you guys got anything that you would like to bring up about these Winnipeg Jets?
No. Just need to be more consistent, but that's about it.
Figure out the power play. Learn how to be a dominant team.
It's going to be a really tough week. Like
I like this week. This is what we get to see this team do because they've had, pretty mad the last 4 weeks. Let's see what they really got because this is a big week and this is a testing week. And it's not fun. You got what? 4 games in 7 days?
Yeah. And 4 games in 6 days.
4 games in 6 days, sorry.
Devils tonight, Rangers on Monday, Islanders Wednesday, and then back home for Colorado on Friday.
Yeah. And then I'm going to be at next week's 2:30 game against the Islanders.
Ooh, nice early one. Yeah. I also I have some Jets tickets to sell.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if anyone's looking for reasonably priced tickets for the Kings game on the 28th, the Bruins game on March 16th, and the Coyotes game on March 21st.
All right.
2 tickets to each of them, $100 a ticket. Yeah. Hit me up on Instagram if anyone wants to buy tickets. Trying to sell them, and it's not easy to sell Jets tickets these days. No. The Bruins are a really good hockey team if anyone wants a couple tickets to that game.
Are those tickets that we saw Chicago in?
No, they're the tickets that my buddy was sitting in that game that we had given to him. So they're 200s in the corner. They're 3 seats away from P1s, but they're technically P4s. So it's like I think they're good seats. You get a good view of the game. So
all right, well, hit up Samuel. And before we finish up by talking about the next week for the Jets, just want to remind you that you should check out Betway to check out the latest Jets Day game odds and bet on the NHL. So, Shout out Betway. They pay us, allegedly. They at least want me to talk about them. I'm still waiting for a proper meeting. They just get emailed. They're just like, here. Okay, yeah. So yeah, we've got the Devils tonight. Have any of us seen the Devils play this year? I think I've seen them play once, and I was like, okay.
I was watching their game against Pittsburgh yesterday. I mean, they look good. Their penalty kill looks really good, dangerous. So that'll be interesting with new power play lines to see how that works.
The power play will succeed. You just got to believe, Sam.
Absolutely. And like the Devils are really good on the road. Best road team in the NHL, but they're at home tonight. So it's our opportunity.
New York tomorrow. We got the Rangers, and they're a dangerous team. That's honestly, I'd rather see Rittich tonight. Like, honestly, maybe we could even see back-to-back Hellebucks.
Bonus said there's a chance. Bonus said anything's possible, and we'll see. So you never know.
Do you want to see back-to-back Helly?
I don't love it with a busy week.
I don't know. You play Dave on Wednesday against the Islanders.
The Islanders are pretty well. They're a good hockey team as well. Barzal was out for at least the last two periods, and they got pumped by Boston. But Boston's just so good, so good.
But I mean, the Jets should be able to take on the Islanders. They're
I don't know. I think if you are going to split up tonight's games or the back-to-back, I think you give Hellebuck tonight just to give him that extra day of rest coming off being sick. And then he gets a couple days before the Islanders, and he'll for sure take both of those games. Islanders, Colorado.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm still all in on the back-to-back for Hellebuck tonight and tomorrow.
I mean, we've seen crazier things. It's not like it's a big travel day. But it also could depend on his workload tonight. Like if he gets 40 shots, I don't think we see him tomorrow.
But we could
if he gets 20, maybe we do.
But he's also one of those guys that can go to work every single day of the week. Like I would.
Yeah, but you don't want to risk injury or anything. Yeah. Like there's a reason. I think I wouldn't mind seeing more NHL teams switch out more players on back-to-backs. Have a couple sets of fresh legs in there.
That's fair. Yeah, that would be.
Maybe we'll see Gagne tomorrow. I think Gustafson's still on the non-contact, so that's not going to happen.
Gagne scored that big one against the Rangers in the first game of the season, so why can't he do it again?
There you go.
Unfortunately, we won't be listening to Mr. Brightside when it comes to that, so boo earns to everyone else who doesn't play our players' goal songs.
How dare they?
Bastards. All right. Well, that's pretty much all I've got this week. So we'll swing around to Ray. Where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me at Brad Lambert is him on Instagram. And yeah, you can just come in and have a discussion and whatever. Yeah.
Cool. Sam, where can we find you on the AM radio airwaves and on the internet?
On Twitter, it's SBrownL12. On Instagram, it's Sam Brownell Radio. And 730 CKDM on the AM airwaves if you're in Manitoba or like Eastern Saskatchewan, or else 730CKDM.com.
Sweet. Be sure to check out JetsNation.ca, and big shout out to our friends at Betway. Make sure to check them out as well. You can check out JetsNation.ca, Jets Nation on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And you can follow me, Angus Hout, on Instagram and Twitter as well. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Have yourself a great week, boys. Go Jets, go, and talk to you again next Sunday. Peace.